Hello, everybody. What's going on with all of you guys today? Welcome back to another weekly live stream here on Suns Digest, where every single Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, we go over the Phoenix Suns and dive in on all the news surrounding around the team. In today's weekly live stream, we're going to be dissecting two topics revolving around this Suns team, as we've seen some details come out on some trade plans, and we've also seen some stuff of the coaching and the front office, with Brian Gregory obviously getting introduced earlier this week. So we're going to dive in, we're going to explore, and we're going to be breaking down everything that you want to know about this team. If you guys do enjoy the content, make sure to hit that like. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section if you have any questions. And let's get into it. What's up, Phoenix Suns number one fan? How we doing? And what's up, King Nacho? How are you guys doing today? But today's episode, like I mentioned, we're going to be dissecting and discussing this Phoenix Suns team. Because there have been a lot of topics and a lot of discussions surrounding this team, correct? And I feel that really diving into it and getting into what we need to discuss about them is key. So, first off, I want to discuss about some trades, and I want to discuss about the building of this roster, as Brian Gregory, in his introductory press conference, said a lot, right? Alignment and identity. And that's something the Phoenix Suns are going to try to do this season. They're going to try to buy into that culture, and they're going to try to resonate with that culture in Phoenix this year. And I truly do believe that this Phoenix Suns team will be ready to go and will have those changes made with this new alignment. But as we can see from my guy John Voita, courtesy of Bright Side of the Sun, which, why don't we fix that? Why won't that fix? Transform. Why won't it work? I want this. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens. Let's dive in. Here's the Suns' starting point for all their UFAs gone, assuming the cap goes up to 10%, which means the cap will be raised to $154 million. The first apron will be $195 million, and the second apron will be $207 million. As you can see with the Phoenix Suns, courtesy of John Voita, the Suns currently, right now, even with Durant, Beal, Booker, Allen, O'Neal, Martin, Micic, Richards, Dunn, and Iguodala, those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Correct me if I'm wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 10. 10 players on this team at this moment. Nothing much, Phoenix Suns number one fan. How you doing? I'm doing good. But, like I said, 10 guys under salary. Only 10. That means that if the Phoenix Suns wanted to run this roster, which did not work last year, once again, they could, but it would not work. They'd be above the second apron, would only have veteran minimum contracts to be able to really sign, to bring in some of these guys, right? And would have to fill out the bottom 5 roster, once again, with veteran minimum contracts, similar to this season, and something that I do not want to see for the Phoenix Suns. I want the Phoenix Suns to do something a little bit different, right? I want them to try to get out of this mess. And as you can see, the second apron, $7.1 million. That's all they have to cut to get out of the second apron. So waiving a contract like Martin or Micic does that, right? And we know Micic is most likely going to be going to Tel Aviv, playing over there in Europe. So he's not going to be back. So waiving him drops us below the first apron and gives the Suns some more flexibility to perform some of these Kevin Durant, potentially Bradley Beal trades that the Phoenix Suns front office wants to get involved in, so that they can be very, very dominant. And that's what I want to see within this Phoenix Suns team. And Brian Gregory didn't really give us some concrete details, didn't give us much to know, but we do know some stuff about this Phoenix Suns team and some of these players that are supposed to be getting traded, correct? The first player that many of us know might be getting traded, which, why did that hit that? You just saw who it's going to be. It's Kevin Durant. You think, Patrick? Yeah, no, Patrick is super cool, and he is pretty big. But yeah, no, I don't think that the Celtics Ben Simmons stuff is going to happen. No. No. In that video, I said it's not going to happen. So, no, I don't believe so. I think a team like the Warriors would be interested for Ben Simmons. That's what me and Patrick kind of said. Patrick said it first, and I completely agreed with it. But let's get back to topic. Let's get into the Suns. Because this man right here, right? Kevin Durant. It's probably going to be one of the first dominoes to fall for this Phoenix Suns team, right? Fortunately, just did not work out in the Valley for Kevin Durant and this Phoenix Suns team. I wanted it to work out. I've been staying optimistic that it still can work out with Kevin Durant if they are able to get off Bradley Beal. But at this point, all signs seem to be telling that Kevin Durant will be traded from this Phoenix Suns team. And there's obviously teams that are going to be interested in that as well, right? The Rockets, just recently we dropped a video on this talking about how they recently are reframing their deal with Fred VanVleet at a later date. That could be potentially used, but I've heard from some of the Rockets fans in the comment section that the Rockets don't necessarily want to trade Fred VanVleet and aren't interested in Kevin Durant. So if that's not going to be going there, then the Suns have to pivot and look at some other directions, right? Obviously, the Timberwolves could be an interesting team depending on how they do with the playoffs this season. Julius Randle has looked pretty good. You can find maybe a Rudy Gobert being added into there to help the Suns out in their front court, right? You obviously factor the Boston Celtics, the other team that I also work for as well as, the Celtics Digest over on there. We've seen them fall down 0-2 to the New York Knicks, and everyone's favorite from the Phoenix Suns and Mikal Bridges going off versus them, and that could be a team that could be interested in Kevin Durant. We've heard the rumors of them possibly doing a deal, maybe a Porzingis, maybe a Drew Holiday, Sam Hauser coming back for the Phoenix Suns in a deal like that. Then there's obviously teams like New York, teams like the Thunder, but I think those teams are a little bit too far-fetched for Kevin Durant at this point. And ultimately, I don't know where Kevin Durant's going to land at this point, but I do feel like he will be gone. Bradley Beal, I also feel like will be gone as well. I want to look up Bradley Beal here. Obviously getting owed that $50 million contract by the Phoenix Suns. Has not been the greatest for the Phoenix Suns this season as well. Very disappointing, not worth the $50 million. The Suns obviously have a couple, hit the wrong button there, a couple different options with Bradley Beal here, right? They can stretch and waive him. They can look to trade him. I still think looking to trade him, and even if that results in trading a guy like Grayson Allen or Royce O'Neal to get that benefit of getting an additional draft pick on draft night to move off that Bradley Beal contract, will help out this team in the long run, because I think waiving and stretching him is not a good idea in my opinion. I think going the trade route with him obviously is the best, even if it means back taking some bad contracts. And I'm not saying a Paul George type of contract, right? Not saying a Jeremy Grant type contract, but there are some contracts that I saw as well via PHNX Sports with their kind of trades that Gerald broke down for this team, and one of them with the Wizards, which I really liked, which was Rashawn Holmes and Jordan Poole. And I feel like Jordan Poole can just play that point guard role that Bradley Beal kind of plays off the bench that he was supposed to play this season for the Suns. And then you add Rashawn Holmes, who once again, third string center, probably not going to see very much the light of day, but is just an expiring contract so that you don't have to pay $20 million for the next 5 seasons. You have to pay $15 million for 1 season. And I think that's the key part when dealing with all of this for the Phoenix Suns, right? Is trying to get off of these bad contracts and trying to rework some things. And Lucky here kind of bringing up some good points as well. I know PHNX Sports is doing their live stream right now, going over some Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal trades. And following this live stream, you will definitely catch me in their stream, kind of hearing what Gerald, Eric, and Steven have to say about that, because I agree with you, Lucky. I think that Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal are going to be those guys that are going to have to go. And potentially, I think it's going to be Grayson over Royce. And for the many reasons that I can state here, we want to look back at this tweet from the wonderful site manager over on Bright Side of the Sun in John Voita here. You can see Grayson Allen, right, is making 16-9 this year, 18-1 next year, and 19-4 the next following year after that, right? And he's worth this extension with the salary cap going up. This is going to be what Grayson Allen is worth on the market, right? So it's not like the Suns are overpaying for a solid three-point shooter, one that can start for you or one that can come off the bench in a high 6th, 7th man role for you. But the key thing, I think, revolving around Grayson Allen's contract is something very similar to someone who was on this team last year in Jusuf Nurkic. And it is the highest contract that is not part of the big three. And I think that is a key domino to monitor with this Suns team, because with the Suns not having that much flexibility, trying to trade some contracts down the ladder of the list, right? Osa Ighodaro, Ryan Dunn, yes, they would fetch you something down the road because they are really solid rookies, but those players have to be attached to another contract to get that done. The Suns don't really have any middle-of-the-pack contracts, right? Unless they bring back a Vasily Micic and trade that contract, or bring back a Cody Martin and try to trade that contract. The only flexible contracts that they have that they could potentially trade for a one-for-one swap, or potentially a draft pick and a player that makes less money that can still fit on a role for the team, is Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal. And if the Suns drop into the first apron by waiving Martin and Micic, they can even combine those contracts and get an added $27 million to go star hunting and to go find another solid role player to add to this roster to fill up for their holes, to put alongside Devin Booker, potentially Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, or if those players leave, whatever they recoup in that return. And I would agree with you. I've written some articles on this, but I think Grayson Allen is that guy kind of to go, specifically as well if they want to bring back Colin Gillespie. We saw Gillespie in his run with the Phoenix Suns be very dominant as a backup point guard, and for Bright Side of the Sun, I wrote my player review for him. I gave him a B+. I was very fascinated with his game, but the one thing that Gillespie did very effectively for this Phoenix Suns team, and it specifically when Bradley Beal and Grayson Allen was out, was fill that role of an off-ball creator alongside Devin Booker. And I think that was the key for his success within this team. And we saw the Suns went on that little bit of a win streak with Bradley Beal, with Grayson Allen out, right? But once they came back and Bud started to give them those minutes, give them that leeway, stripping it away from a Colin Gillespie, we saw the losses getting attached. And for the main reason, in my opinion, is because the Suns had too many of the same player doing the same thing. They had too many of the same position type. Too many guards that can score with the ball in their hands. Tyus Jones needs the ball in his hands. Devin Booker can play off ball, right? We all know he can do that, but Booker wanted to be that point guard this season. Bradley Beal, he needs the ball in his hands. Kevin Durant, he can play off ball, but he wants to have the ball in his hands on the post. Royce O'Neal, he's a catch and shoot player, can play off ball. Grayson Allen, catch and shoot, but Grayson Allen also needs the ball in his hands to score. The only defenders that this team had were the Ryan Dunn and the Cody Martin. And that's why Cody Martin looks so good, right? We need versatile players. We need different types of guys. We need different roles. And potentially with Kevin Durant leaving this Suns team, I'm not wishing for it because I want him to stay, but obviously if Kevin Durant is traded, that frees up the power forward position. And what can you explore at the power forward position? Well, I don't know, a true power forward, someone that can rebound pretty solidly, stretch up to the floor and shoot the three, work in the post similar alongside Kevin Durant. That's possible now, and I think the Suns have a new path to kind of, like Brian Gregory said, really find this identity, really find what is key with this Suns team, and really tap into what is different and how dominant this team can truly be when they have these changes, when things are worked around, and when they're looking at their best. And like Lucky said, I think Grayson Allen's going to be one of those first dominoes to fall. Personally, if I were the Phoenix Suns, I would look at Grayson Allen, and I would look at every team that struggled in the playoffs with shooting, right? Any team that had troubles throughout the entirety of this playoffs with shooting. And I think one of those guys that could be one of those teams that could be interested is obviously Orlando. And we've seen them linked to Grayson Allen in the past. We talked about it towards the trade deadline. We talked about it as well. But Grayson Allen, in my opinion, I think could go to Orlando and provide some valuable shooting for maybe a guy like Jonathan Isaac, maybe a guy like Mo Wagner, who can play some solid defense and be a pest down low and be a shot blocker, someone Suns fans have really wanted to keep in. But another player that I think as well, or another team, is the Detroit Pistons. And the reason why I say the Detroit Pistons is because Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr., yes, they're very valuable for that team, but they're both free agents. And I know Jaden Ivey was hurt, but I think they could value a player in Grayson Allen to add to that room, specifically at that 2/3, because he can play a little bit of the 3 in some of these lineups, specifically with some of the defenders that the Detroit Pistons have. And personally, I would not be mind if we got Simone Fontecchio at $8 million, saved, once again, $8 million or close to $9 million by trading away Grayson Allen and getting a random first-round pick from Detroit. And just taking that first-round pick and being happy. And using that first-round pick maybe attached to Bradley Beal or another trade to get something in return. Personally, I think that's kind of a solution for the Suns, but I don't know. But I'm going to look through the chat. We have 40 people in here, which is absolutely insane. I don't know how we have 40 people in here, but I want to say if you do enjoy the stream, make sure to hit the like, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you to everyone that is hanging out in here because I don't think I got any retweets or anything on my post. No, I did not. So all of you guys, if you are new here, this is Suns Digest, where we talk about the Phoenix Suns here daily in videos and do weekly live streams on Thursdays. But I'm excited to have everybody in the chat. King Nacho's here. Phoenix Suns #1 was Jalen Bridges. Jalen Bridges was a 2-way contract. He played for the Phoenix Suns this season. Big Merc is in here. I did see him. What's up, Saul H. Soto? I've seen you in PHNX and in the Planet Pods. What's up, Saul? I'm good with trading Royce, but would like another year of Allen. So you're on the other side, and that's where I think it can really swing. I know a lot of people don't really like Royce. They think he lost a little step defensively. Allen can still provide that 3-point shooting, and 3-point shooting is valuable in the NBA this year and throughout the entire league. So I could see why you would want to lean in and keep Grayson Allen over Royce. But personally, just because he's the little bit more expensive contract, it also allows the Suns to have a little bit more leeway in the contracts they can trade for. But yeah, Big Merc is here. What's up? King Nacho's here. Phoenix Suns #1 fan. Keep Martin, high energy player, something the Suns need. I would agree as well. I would love for the Suns to keep Cody Martin, but my thing with doing Cody Martin is bringing him back on a cheaper contract, right? We want to look back at this tweet from John, which, once again, if you're not following John Voita, definitely check out John. He is absolutely fantastic with everything Phoenix Suns related. If you follow me, you definitely know him, but Suns Jam podcast, definitely go check that out. Go check out Bright Side of the Sun for the best writing spot on the Phoenix Suns. But as we can see here, Martin makes around 8.7. I'm willing to waive him at 8.7, right? And I'm willing to bring him back on 5, 6, right? Little bit cheaper, but also lets you have that flexibility right away when you're looking to do those Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal trades at the end of June going into free agency to allow you have that freedom once you enter free agency right away. But I would not mind bringing back Cody Martin. But I also think the Suns can find a player very similar to Cody Martin out there on the market as well on some cheaper contracts. Resign Bull Big Merc. I know everyone wants Big Bull back, but I wrote an article for Brightside, and the Suns could cook up and get Sandro Mamukelashvili, man. I think he could be the next Bull for this Phoenix Suns team. Fan favorite, absolute great. Love me some Bull and some Sandro Mamukelashvili. What do you think about Cam Whitmore? Says N Cadet. I like Cam Whitmore. I can tell you from firsthand experience, for many of you guys that probably new to the channel or don't really know, I went to Seton Hall University, which if you're in Arizona, you're like, where the hell is that? And it's in New Jersey, right? And you might be thinking, why are you bringing up that? Well, Cam Whitmore went to Villanova. And in my senior year of college, I was lucky enough to go to a game and watch Cam Whitmore play. And Cam Whitmore didn't play much through the season because he was injured throughout the beginning. But in the later part of the season, Cam Whitmore played. And what I can tell you is that Cam Whitmore was not valued at the number 20th pick. This man is an absolute insane machine on the offensive side. Yes, does he have some flaws? 100%, right? But I think in a system with Houston, right, he's been log jammed behind Dillon Brooks, behind Tari Eason, who's been this flashy, once again, player that I really love, defensive piece. And I think a player like Cam Whitmore could make an impact on the Phoenix Suns. Now, him maybe not growing to a potential, top 2, number 2 option, something like that, I don't know. But can Cam Whitmore be a solidified scoring role player offensively for a Phoenix Suns team? Absolutely. Could he be a player that could work well alongside Ryan Dunn as, two young wings for the future for this Suns team? Absolutely. Does he bring heart, hustle, and everything that the Suns fans thought they were missing off this team? Absolutely. When I saw him play at Villanova, I'm telling you guys, the Villanova Wildcats did not miss a single free throw the entire game. They went 21 from 21 from the field. And Cam Whitmore had probably 8, maybe 10 of those free throws. Absolutely insanity. I have to tip my cap off to Cam Whitmore. I've seen him play with my own eyes, and I'm telling you right now, Phoenix Suns fans, yes, he might not be this flashy piece, but he would be a solid guy to have for this culture and bringing in this new identity for the team. And like you said, Lucky, Villanova guys play hard. If you've watched, obviously, Mikal Bridges for the Phoenix Suns for all these years, you know that he played hard on the defensive end. But looking at the series right now, Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges were the key reason that the Celtics lost that game yesterday, coming back in the fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson, I'm telling you, it's true. Imagine an all-Cam team. What, Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas, Cam Whitmore. Oh, am I missing any? Cam Boozer when he comes up. For a Rockets trade, I want Jalen Green, Brooks, and the 2 first-round picks. See, I don't want Jalen Green. I don't think he'd fit in well next to Booker. Give me Jabari. OKC Nuggets game was crazy. Okay, yes. All right. So now we're going to kind of veer away, and we're going to steer away from the topic that we were just having, talking about trades, talking about this team. We're going to get into the second half of this stream, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to talk about the coaching search. Now, if you want to dive in, give me your thoughts on the coaching search. Let me know down below in the comment section. But I do want to give a shout out to PHNX once again, and to Suns Jam and Darth Voita and Matt Lissy, because they did this earlier yesterday and kind of inspired me to kind of get this into my stream today, because I was thinking for a topic, thinking about what I wanted to do, couldn't really kind of come up with one that I wanted, and now that I have, I'm very excited to be able to do this. Now, let me just get this pulled up here real quick here, and then we'll kind of get into what we're going to be breaking down here. But we're going to be looking at the coaches for the Phoenix Suns, analyzing everybody that is available for this team, and I'm going to be giving you my ultimate thoughts on who I would like. Lucky's asking, do you think the Celtics can make a comeback? While I'm looking for this, I will let you know my answer, and yes, I do think that the Celtics can make a comeback. Do I think it's a likelihood? Maybe not so, but I'm never going to count out my hometown team, and I think it's going to be absolutely great. We love Ben. You chose a great, well, I'm glad you love Ben, because Ben's my boss, so I'm glad that you love the guy that employed me and got me my start in the media sphere. So thank you. I really, really do appreciate that, and I will let him know that you said that as well. Alrighty. Sorry, guys. Still looking for this tweet. My notifications are just bombarded. But here we go. We found it. Saul, you're wrong. It's not going to happen. No, King Nacho. No. That's not happening. No. He is a menace. I can't count them out. I really can't count them out, in all honesty, right? They're defending champions. From all I heard, they're ready to go for Game 3. They win Game 3. They've been shooting terribly. Let them have one good shooting game, and I think they'll be okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, coaching staff talk. Suns coach. We saw an update from Michael Scotto this week, right? Relating to this Suns coaching search. We saw there was a new name that was brought into this. Washington Wizards assistant Adam Kaporn, who is the Australian national coach. We also saw some other names mentioned: Jordan Ott, Royal Ivey, Johnny Bryant, Ben Sullivan, Sean Sweeney, Jared Dudley, Dave Bliss, Chris Quinn, Dave Yeager, James Borrego, and also Sam Cassell, which was a big shout out from Coach Evan B. But as we all know, the Suns are definitely going to be looking for these coaches, and there's some guys that were mentioned that names aren't on here because we're not going to talk about a Doc Rivers or anything like that, but we are going to dissect and we are going to dive into some potential guys that I do like here for the Suns. And personally, I feel like everybody's kind of got the same 2 cents on some of these coaches. I am a big fan of Sam Cassell, and that's obviously because I am a Celtics guy, but I truly do believe that he could bring out the culture for this Suns team that they really, really want. He's been due for a coaching job for a little while as well, being a top assistant in Philadelphia, and now obviously with the Boston Celtics on a championship team last year. Now obviously the lead assistant once Charles Lee left and went to Charlotte. But Sam Cassell, very solid defensive-minded head coach, former player, has the connections to those players, and I really think could bring the best out mentality-wise out of some of these stars like Devin Booker, if Kevin Durant were to stay, like Kevin Durant, and some of those other names on this Phoenix Suns team. I also think if they had a guy like Sam Cassell, even if I saw on some streams that people thought they were worried because he's a little bit older, maybe has that mentality, thinking that as well. But I think personally, yes, and in Houston as well, he was a badass in Houston and in Minnesota and in Boston. But Cassell ultimately has that new mentality behind being under Joe, so I think he kind of understands, it's not the way of when he was getting coached, personally, in my opinion, and I think that's a good sign for the Phoenix Suns. Like I said, I think he'll be held accountable, hold the players accountable, but will be strict, but allow the players to do what they want to do as well, and I trust in Sam Cassell. Yeah, if we keep KD, we need to ensure that we re-sign him 100%. He only comes back if we are going to re-sign him, in my opinion. Now, some other names that I do like as well from looking at this list: James Borrego, David Yeager. I am straight on. I don't want really ex-coaches, right? I want someone new. So Chris Quinn is another name that's been thrown around. Obviously, Miami Heat assistant head coach. I don't really know much on Chris Quinn, but I do know that a lot of people do really like him. David Bliss, top assistant in Oklahoma City at the moment. He's another name that's been getting some buzz around him. I do think that he would be a decent connection, but I don't really know much. Jared Dudley, once again, Phoenix Suns connection, might not be the best. Johnny Bryant, Royal Ivy, those are the other names as well that I have seen really, really been interested in this Phoenix Suns team and in this head coaching search as well. Personally, I think Sam, I know the most about Sam. I trust Sam, so I'm going to say Sam is my number one and is always going to have Sam as my number one. But there's also some great assistants here, like we said: Royal Ivy, Johnny Bryant, Sean Sweeney, Chris Quinn, Adam Kapoor, who could get this job for the Phoenix Suns. And I'm hoping that we are able to see this decision kind of made soon. Brian Gregory did say at the introductory press conference the other day that he does believe that this team, or that this team's next goal, is to get the head coach. So I believe that they are, trying to figure that out. I feel like in the next couple of days, who knows, but hopefully by the start of next week, we maybe hear something revolving around this as well, kind of relating to who can be brought in, some finalists or something like that. That would kind of make me feel assured that we are progressing in this direction. We are trying to figure it out, right? We're kind of putting out to the public, these are our finalists, this is who we're looking at. We give the fans some ideology of where we're heading, and potentially, hopefully not doing what King Nacho said and hiding another head coach who's the current Michigan State assistant. But I just want to make sure, as we all are aligned on what we want this team to do, that Brian Gregory and Matt Ishbia and Josh Bartlestein, who's still making decisions, are aligned. We're all aligned, right? We all want a new Phoenix Suns team. Not new, but we want someone that, a new identity, a new culture, a new atmosphere for this team to really believe in and thrive in my opinion, right? And when you really think about it, there has to be some roster changes to get that done. You need to address the roles that you need to find out and identify that haven't been on this team in the last couple of years. And I really like this part where Brian Gregory said, him and Matt Ishbia are talking about a guy. That guy might not be a Phoenix Sun, and he has to tell Matt Ishbia that guy doesn't fit our identity, doesn't fit our culture. And that is music to my ears, Please say that more. Scream that from the rooftops, please. Because do you think Bradley Beal was a guy that was an identity setter of the Phoenix Suns that they needed to get? No, but they still did it. So please have that mentality. Please have that thinking. And I'm not going to bash on Brian Gregory until he makes a move, ladies and gentlemen. I've said this on Twitter. I am not going to call out and make fun of someone who struggled at their introductory press conference, when the press conference in the grand scheme of things, realistically, the introductory press conference means jack squat to what he's going to do for this team. Let me see what moves he makes, and let me see what he does. I can tell you that I still get nervous going live on stream. I still get nervous doing videos. I still mess up doing stuff and have to get frustrated. I can't imagine being on that podium, being questioned by everybody who already dislikes you. What? Alrighty. Well, my screen died out, but don't worry. I'm coming back. And there I am. But I don't know where I was going. But I would be... if everybody in the room disliked me as well and was picking on me and was frustrated with me and already had a, thinking of how I was as a person because I got hired because my buddy is the owner, then yes, I understand why he's nervous. Yes, I understand why he's saying these buzzwords. So please give him some time. Let him breathe, right? Let him do his job. And then if he does his job correctly, I can't wait to hear everyone turn their heads. And I'll admit if I'm wrong, right? I've done that on this channel. I said the Suns need a point guard. I was in that demographic. I was wrong. I said Tyus Jones was the perfect fit, and I didn't think the Suns would be able to attain him. And when they did, I thought that it was the perfect signing for the team. I was wrong. I'm willing to admit that. But if Brian Gregory does something good and leads this team into a good direction, I can't wait to hear the reverse calls, because I'm going to stay optimistic. I'm going to not bash someone who hasn't made a bad move. But once he does make those bad moves and puts us in his decision, once again, I'll admit I was wrong. But I'm not going to bash anyone until they do something. Once again, I want to thank you guys for that little rant that I just went on. But always tuning in, hanging out, having a good time here on Suns Digest. I do want to let you guys know that obviously I make these videos, and for some of you this might be your first time coming in here. You might not even know who I am, but I do videos on Suns Digest alongside my boss Ben for the channel. We also do live streams every single week on Thursdays at this exact time, 6 p.m., 3 p.m. Pacific for you guys. I keep saying I'm going to try to get guests, and I keep failing on that part because I'm not reaching out to people. So I'm going to change that, and this week I am going to reach out to people. And it might not happen next week or the week after that, but I guarantee you we will have some guests on this stream in the near future. I'm going to be putting all my work into that for you guys to get some more voices and some more opinions for you guys on Suns Digest from some people with good credentials, people also on YouTube, and stuff like that. I do want to let all of you guys know, though, that tonight I will be live on Twitter discussing this Phoenix Suns team, and I'm going to be doing that alongside someone in the spaces. So I can't get Mark Bartelstein as a guest, I'm sorry. But I'm going to be doing that on spaces tonight. So if you follow me on Twitter, here, a little bit of a plug, at Bruce Veliz, at 8 p.m. for you guys on the West Coast, but 11 p.m. for me over here on the East, I will be going in those Twitter spaces and we'll be discussing more talk about the Phoenix Suns, similar to how I did in this 30 to 40 minutes that I did go live for you guys here this afternoon, kind of giving you more details, talking to some more Suns fans as well in those spaces. So if you want to stay up to date, get some more details on the Suns, definitely sauce a follow and join that spaces later tonight. Like I said, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. If you also want to catch more of my work on the Phoenix Suns, you can follow me on Twitter and check me out at Suns Planet Pod, but also you can check me out on Bright Side of the Sun, where in the last 2 days I have released some pretty good articles for the consumer here. I will display them as for you guys if you would like to see. But 5 free agents who could reshape the Phoenix Suns identity looking at some guys like Sandro Mamushkelishvili, Jake LaRavia, Clint Capella, and many more. But also my player review on Colin Gillespie, someone that everyone on this Phoenix Suns team really fell in love with this season. One of the hidden gems for this Suns team. So if you guys do enjoy the videos, do enjoy my Suns work on here, definitely go check me out over there on as well, because you get more info, more details, and more stuff revolving around the Suns. I want to say shout out to you guys for being in the stream. We got up to around 40 viewers today, which I know is absolutely insane. Thank you so much, King Nacho, for hanging out here. Thank you so much, Saul H. Soto, for hanging out here. Lucky as well to be here. Phoenix Suns #1 fan as well. Big Merc as well. I really do appreciate you. He is going to have a bit of say on the new head coach. They talked about that at the press conference. Brian Gregory said that he's kind of talked to Booker, and they're going to try to focus on that same identity. So, Saul, you have nothing to worry about there. But once again, we have 30 people in the stream now. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for coming out. If this is your first time here, like I said, make sure to hit that like, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Crampy's also lurking in here. What's up, Cramp? Thank you so much for coming through tonight. I appreciate you all once again. Have a blessed rest of your night. I'll see you guys live next week on Thursday as well at the same time. So hit that notification bell. Make sure to stay updated. If you got any other Suns family, friends, people that are interested, show them the channel, show them these live streams, and let's have some more fun in here. Once again, thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. Have a great rest of your night, and go Phoenix Suns.